Have you ever wished that Beethoven's Fifth Symphony could become your waifu? As a classically trained violinist who's actually played this symphony, I know I have. Well, now that dream can come true with Takt Op's Destiny, a new anime airing during the fall 2021 season. Takt Op's Destiny is a collaboration between Madhouse, one of the best older animation studios, and MAPPA, one of the rising stars in the anime industry. Here's the basic premise. In the near future, a meteorite causes creatures called D2s to form. They hate music and ruthlessly attack whenever it is played, but they are also vulnerable to the power of music. Most of humanity avoids playing music now to stay safe, but a group called the New York Symphony has turned certain humans into weaponized fighters called music arts that are imbued with the spirit of famous classical pieces, who work together with conductors who direct their attacks. The main character, Takt Asahina, is the son of a famous orchestra conductor who was killed by the D2s, and through a chain of events, he has become a conductor for a music art representing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. However, the way the music art awakens is different than normal, and being a conductor causes Takt physical pain, so he's on a road trip across the United States to meet with the New York Symphonica. I don't want to say too much more about the plot to avoid spoilers, but it's certainly a unique concept, even if it isn't the first anime to think about making girls fight with powers based on music. One thing I love about this show so far is the level of detail that goes into everything, that may go unnoticed by people who are less familiar with music. Even the title of the show has so much to unpack. Takt is obviously the name of the main character, but it's also German for bar, as in a bar of music. OP period is short for opus, which is the number given to a musical piece to show the order in which the conductor wrote the pieces. And together, Takt Op also looks like Takt Ops, or tactical operations, which makes sense given the battle aspect of the show. And finally, Destiny is the name of Takt's music art, which is a reference to the fact that Beethoven's Fifth is sometimes referred to as the Symphony of Destiny. There's similar care given to the pieces of music used in the show. For example, so far the show has prominently featured the fourth movement of Beethoven's Fifth, but it hasn't showcased the first movement, which is the one people are most familiar with and arguably the most impactful. However, before Takt awakens his music art, he interrupts her piano playing with the iconic first four notes, the same that play when the music art is created. I assume at the climax of the show we'll probably see that movement come out. Similarly, the show does a rendition of Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries shortly before introducing a music art based on the piece. Takt also plays the piece Rhapsody in Blue, which unites classical and jazz music in New Orleans, the home of jazz. In addition, there's a fellow conductor named Lenny, who I think is probably a reference to the conductor Leonard Bernstein. All of these little details make the show great for music lovers, but it's also just a solid show in general. If nothing else, you should watch it for the animation. Madhouse and MAPPA have fused to provide some absolutely breathtaking visuals. I mean, just look at some of the fight animations here. There's an incredible amount of fluidity to them that's backed up by the show's score, and there's a mix of shooting and close combat for the fighting. But the fight scenes aren't the only parts of the show that get love from the animation department. There's a ton of care given to scenes where people are doing mundane activities or playing music without fighting. There's some of the best piano playing animation I've ever seen in anime. Animation isn't the only important facet of visuals, though. Character design can be just as crucial for making a show memorable, and Takt Op's Destiny succeeds extremely well. The outfits of each music art and conductor are vastly different, as are the weapons they use. Each person's look accentuates their personality and helps to tell the watcher about their connection with music. For example, I actually guessed what piece Valkyrie was based on before she indicated it just because of her aesthetic. But of course, even the best animation can't carry a show if the writing is bad. So how does Takt Op's Destiny's writing hold up? To be honest, I wasn't expecting much from it originally. This show is actually part of a multimedia project that is leading up to the release of a mobile gacha game called Takt Opus. And on top of that, the first episode had a lot of narration and exposition through dialogue that was pretty clunky. The good news is that the writing has vastly improved in the following episodes. The anime shifts to showing rather than telling, even playing with time and having some really effective flashbacks that help explain the current situation the cast is in. The flashbacks actually eliminate the need for all the clumsy exposition in the first episode, though I guess I understand wanting to get the premise to the audience as soon as possible. In general, the show is quite character-driven. Takt has to deal with the shift from being a recluse who used to do nothing but play piano to someone on the front lines of battle. He also has to struggle to bond with his music art, which is especially difficult because of certain things regarding her identity. In addition, Takt meets a lot of different conductors and music arts who all have different styles and ideals. The only real issue with the writing so far is the pacing. It's very fast. The characters are taking a road trip across the country, but they don't usually stay in the same city for more than one episode. All of the cities we get to see have really intriguing features, like being converted to a farm or being populated solely by elderly people, but they're in the rearview mirror on the road trip as quickly as they appear. I wish the show would slow down and spend more time in each place, but overall the dialogue and plot are quite enjoyable so far. Let's talk a little bit about the sound in the show now. I know I've already gone on about the classical music used, but the show doesn't only use classical. There's also been ragtime, jazz, and even some rock and metal in the soundtrack. All of it blends very well to create emotional character-building moments as well as heart-pounding fight scenes. When it comes to the voice cast, I think everyone has given really passionate performances. Takt is played by Koki Uchiyama, who you might recognize as Miyamura from Horimiya or Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. His music art Destiny is played by Shion Wakayama, who hasn't had many roles yet, but is probably most well known for Yume and Trigger's SSSS Dynazenon. Rounding out the main trio of the show is Anna, played by Kaide Hondo, who is known for Sakura in Zombieland Saga and Elena in Wandering Witch: The Journey of Elena. Overall, the sights and sounds of Takt Op's Destiny are reason enough to watch the show, and the solid writing makes it very enjoyable. So far, I'd give the show a 7.5 out of 10, though I think it has the potential to be an 8 if the rest of the season goes well. I honestly might even check out the mobile game when it drops. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for weekly content. I'm Matrix from Matrix AM, Anime, and more, and I hope you have a great day.